On today's episode, I am welcoming Heather Neisen. It's a great interview. I think you're going to love it. But before we do that, I want to tell you about a new service we're just introducing, a new way to help save you money. For over 15 years, we've been negotiating beverage deals, best-in-class beverage partnerships for some great clients. And every engagement, we actually then turn to manage the resulting beverage contract for the life of the term. And in the process, we ensure that our clients are getting every cent they're due in rebate payments and sponsorship funding and in price protection payments. And we make sure they're not being overcharged over and above that price they worked so hard to negotiate. And we ensure that all the volume is being tracked and accounted for properly. In the process, we have literally recovered millions of dollars. And it is no exaggeration to say that we find error rates of sometimes 40+%. In the past, that service has only been available for those clients for which we've negotiated their deals. But now we're offering that service for everyone, and we're calling it the Enliven Beverage Deal Audit. If you've negotiated an exclusive beverage partnership, then you'll want to take advantage of this because there's a high likelihood you are being either overcharged, you're being underpaid, or volume is not being counted. Now, there's a variety of reasons for this, but the fact remains, it's possible, it's actually probable that you're not getting everything you are due, and you should find it and recover that money. That's what the Enliven Beverage Deal Audit is all about. The best part is it is 100% risk-free to you. If we do not find and recover you money, then you don't owe us a dime. So how do you get started? Go to www.beveragedealaudit.com. Once again, that's beveragedealaudit.com. And it only takes 15 minutes for you to sign up and give us all the information we need to get started. 15 minutes of your time, risk-free to you. And chances are you could recover hundreds of thousands of dollars for your organization. It's a no-brainer. Do me a favor, go to beveragedealaudit.com and sign up today. Welcome to the Enliven Beverage Deal Podcast, where we're all about saving and making you money by taking both the guesswork and the legwork out of your beverage partnership and by leveling the playing field when it comes to negotiating your beverage contracts. I'm your host, Tim Harms. We've got a great show for you today. Stay tuned. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to our podcast today. We have back the Miss Heather Neisen, Enliven Healthcare Practice Area Leader. She is also a black belt in Googling. You did not know. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Tim. Hi, great to be here.
Heather, got a question for you.
All right.
Do you have a favorite superhero?
Oh man. Favorite superhero. Okay. This is like one of those icebreaker questions. But I got a good answer for you. Okay, Wonder Woman. I've got to say, favorite superhero.
All right.
But part of that is because, so you know this, Tim, but for those listening, is I have 2 kids. They're both daughters. And as a treat for Mother's Day, I can't remember how long ago it was, my husband said, you should go to the movie theater and watch Wonder Woman by yourself. So I think part of it is that I have these little girls, and then I got to go to this movie theater. So maybe it's the experience, but I do love Wonder Woman. So there you go.
Wonder Woman. You know what? I've been, as we're recording this, we are in shelter in place mode during COVID-19, and they've released The Last Dance docu-series about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he classifies as a superhero, but I definitely am reliving all of my childhood dreams to be like Michael
That's a good
Jordan.
hero. Non-traditional. I like it.
You know, we're talking about heroes that we want to be, that we've wanted to be as we've grown up. But man, I have been so just honored and jazzed about how our society right now during this global pandemic crisis has really recognized our healthcare workforce as the heroes that they are. I know you've got to be proud, Heather, as our
Oh, yeah.
Enliven healthcare practice leader.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's been really exciting. I mean, we've worked with healthcare for a decade and a half. And I think we know, just by watching these healthcare professionals day in, day out, kind of in thankless jobs. And I don't know if we ever use the word hero, but we've got a lot of respect for them. And so it's been really, I don't know, just mind blowing in the past couple months just to see these folks that already work hard kind of be put on triple shifts, right? And
Mm.
it's been great to see how our nation and then kind of our whole global community has come around these folks in really cool ways with parades and everything, and just said, hey, we see you and we salute you. We know you're going to get us out of this.
Oh,
It's been
absolutely.
really cool.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was joking about looking up to Michael Jordan and wanting to be like him. There, if you know
Yeah.
me, that's the farthest thing possible from the truth. No athletic bones in my body, but I do kind of get goosebumps thinking about
Mhm.
kids at these, during this time, looking up to
Oh,
healthcare
yeah.
workers, and I wonder how many kids out there are seeing the hero status that
Hmm.
we've rightfully placed on healthcare workers during this time, and say, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be a nurse. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor. When I grow up,
Oh,
I
that's a
want to
great
be
point. Yeah.
disease expert. Yeah. And so I think actually the world is waking up to what marketers and major brand companies have actually
Hmm.
known for quite a bit. And candidly, I don't even think some of our healthcare clients realize how they
Hmm.
have been seen by the world, but particularly big major brands. So
Hmm.
you wanted to come on here. You had an idea to talk about why
Yeah.
healthcare employees are a coveted audience for major brands. Can you
Yeah.
explore a little bit more about that, Heather?
Yes, absolutely. Well, perfect. Yeah. We've talked about how Coke, Pepsi, beverage companies are major brands. And so it's easy to kind of lump them into a group and think they're out to sell a 20-ounce soda or they're out to sell a fountain beverage with your meal today. But really, they're brand companies, right? And they are
Mm,
all about building brands, the iconic logos. They've been part of your childhood. Um, and so that's what they're great at and what they want to keep doing. So, Tim, you're right. They're You got to think when you start thinking about healthcare, especially now, but we've seen it for years, how a strategic way that Coke, Pepsi, et cetera, have looked at building brands has really been through healthcare.
mm.
And I'm going to throw some stats at you, Tim, because I think
Stats.
we started digging into this, and we know this to be true, right? We feel
Yeah.
it in the room when we're with the companies or with healthcare. Um, but we started to find some really cool stuff. All right, so Bureau of Labor Statistics, um, healthcare professionals are highly compensated, so their wages are 72% higher than the average American worker.
Wow.
Yeah. So folks who have, hopefully some cash to spend, but they're highly compensated. They're highly professional. They're skilled. They're also highly educated. So healthcare professionals are 77% more likely to have at least a bachelor's degree than the average American worker. And we know this, right? These are healthcare professionals,
Wow.
professional programs, medical school, nursing school.
That's
Yeah.
right. I mean, when I think about going to the doctor, going through the nurse, I assume that they've probably had 40, 60, 70 years of education already. These things, these people
Yes.
are
Yeah.
highly educated.
Yeah, yeah. And then I love this Gallup poll, just showing how trusted healthcare workers are. So Americans trust their healthcare provider 20% more than their banker.
Wow.
64% more than their judge.
Oh, man.
And yeah, I mean, this one you mentioned, we're in the time of COVID, right? But this is 80% more trusted than their news anchor.
That's actually
So
kind of low.
I know. But yeah, so you're looking at this group of people, right, who are more trusted. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's crazy, more than their banker,
Hmm.
but just a great group of people. And then some other really interesting things. So registered nurses actually are one of the largest segments of the U.S. workforce,
Mm-hmm.
among the highest paid. But and 58% of those nurses work in general medical and surgical hospitals. The federal government also just released that they believe that more than 200,000 new registered nurse positions will be created every year from 2016 to 2026.
Wow.
And of those, 91% are nurses are female. And an Inc.com article recently said that women drive 70 to 80% of all consumer purchasing. So you're talking about just fascinating demographics. If you're a major brand and you have access to these highly compensated, educated, trusted folks, access to purchasing power through just the nature of the fact that nurses are female and they drive a lot of the consumer purchases, you're talking about a really strategic audience.
Wow.
Yeah.
So highly compensated. They got a lot of dough. They're highly educated, meaning they're very trusted, and they drive purchasing decisions for their home, and they're growing. Man, that's a great recipe. If you're a global brand looking to build your brands. And by the way, these people are now seen as heroes in our society because they are genuinely doing life-saving work, putting themselves on the line every single day. Wow.
Yeah, and I think often, you just say healthcare. I think a lot of people generally think about patients. They think about their experience with healthcare, going to an appointment, but they don't think about how an employee, if you think about the life of a nurse, how many hours he or she spends in the four walls of a hospital and how much time is spent in a cafeteria, in a break room, and just how much opportunity there is for a brand, whether that be a beverage brand or whether that be any other kind of brand, to have influence.
Talk a little bit about a unique environment about the hospital as well. What makes it different than even other properties or companies that global brands can partner with?
Yeah. So hospitals and healthcare, so you have employees that are there, right? You can't work from home as a nurse necessarily. I mean, I know there's some telehealth medicine out there, but by and large, a healthcare professional needs to be with the patient. So oftentimes, these major beverage companies invest heavily in places that are really exciting, like a movie theater. But movie theaters right now are vacant. They also invest heavily in ballparks, sporting events, really exciting crowd-oriented experiences, but those are all silent right now. But hospitals are buzzing. They don't have closed hours. Even in a normal state that's not COVID-19 response rate, hospitals are open 24/7. And they are places where refreshment's happening, refueling is happening. And there's so much goodness too associated with hospitals. Babies being born, patients defeating cancer. And right now, I mean, defeating COVID-19, I don't know if you've seen, but I keep seeing these videos pop up of a patient who has defeated COVID-19, gets discharged. The staff is lined up. It's, Victoria, it's kind of like a sporting event, honestly.
Yeah. But so much more
great.
Too.
Yeah. So much more meaningful, and really the good guys won. There's no really losing team in that. So hospitals are this unique environment. Again, not even just right now, but even more so right now. Healthcare workers, like we've talked about, are heroes. They're superhuman. What have we seen? Words like warriors, brave fighters. I keep seeing ads on TV for insurance, cars, you name it, and everybody wants to help this crew, right? Because they're really they're kind of our front lines, our army right now. And so again, this is kind of a unique environment that isn't closed, that will sustain long term, and it's where people are. And so I think, if you're talking about beverage company, there's so many neat things for them, not only getting access to those folks like we've talked about through promotions and sampling, getting their brand in the cafeterias, but also things like there's new health and wellness brands that are really exciting to put out there, like sparkling waters and probiotics.
Right.
So those are really neat. But on the flip side, it's also a great place for iconic brands. So you have a really long shift. It was hard. Like, what better than getting yourself a treat? You know, the soda that you grew up with as a treat after your long shift. So if you think about it from a brand building beverage company perspective, they can really grow their traditional brands, but they're really able to grow new brands like their sparkling waters and their kombuchas and all kinds of new things that really hit the mark in healthcare. So it's just this beautiful ecosystem that Pepsi and Coke have really understood to be that next frontier that I think a lot of us don't naturally think about.
Well, Heather, this has been very enlightening. This is such a good conversation, a new way to think about the healthcare channel as a coveted asset for brands to pursue. I don't know about you, but I hope we never go back to a time where we take our healthcare workforce for granted. They truly are our heroes in this time. And man, it's just been so gratifying to see everyone step up in some big ways.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tim, for having me on, and appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for listening in. Hope you found that informative. If you have a burning question about your beverage negotiation or partnership, we'd love to hear from you and answer it on this podcast. Reach out to us by emailing podcast@enlivenpartnership.com. And hey, before we sign off, I want to remind you that you can take both the guesswork and the legwork out of your beverage partnership. You can level the playing field in your beverage negotiations, and you can save or make your company millions through a new or an improved beverage agreement. The first step is a free beverage opportunity analysis, which will tell you just how much you can save or you can make. Sign up for your free beverage opportunity analysis at enlivenpartnership.com and by clicking free savings estimate. On behalf of everyone here at Enliven, thanks for listening in.